Welcome to Two Fuse Wrestling Fantasy Booking episode. So the other week, we talked about how we would have Goldberg Streak come to an end. This week, we thought, who would we give a Goldberg Streak to if we had the chance to? But before we get into our fantasy booking for who we would give this streak to, I wanted to talk about MVP. As a kid, I was super pumped when he was coming up, and I kind of liked the idea that he would have a Goldberg streak. Thinking back, his finisher lacked that devastating ability that you kind of need for the streak. But what I always wanted to do with MVP, and get your opinion on this, is could you ever heel like MVP who talks shit, said he was the best, and win all his matches like a Goldberg streak clean and just be cocky? Like, couldn't that get heat? Or would it become the point where fans are like, oh, this dude's cool?
Yeah, I think there's like this, I don't know, like mindset that the heel's got to cheat to win. But yeah, if you had a guy come in, and even the way they brought in MVP to begin with, how he was like uh, doing his free agent, quote unquote, negotiations with the GM of SmackDown.
Dude,
I think it was Teddy Long at the time.
yeah, and he had the Super Bowl inflatable
Yeah,
thing that he would come out. It
yeah,
was
but
awesome.
those were like contract demands. I think it was like it was different because it almost was trying to do like a real sport feel where he would show up and then be negotiating. So if you keep that going where he's like it's kind of this real sport feel, and then he basically just like, well, I was gonna say he's like Tom Brady, but Tom Brady cheated to win.
Yeah,
So, but I mean, like if he's just that good
it,
and then he's extremely cocky about it all the time, I
and
think that's a very good heel to me.
and I think his gimmick worked really well for that.
Yeah,
His gimmick worked really well for that. His look worked.
yeah,
He was phenomenal on the mic, dude. His feud with Matt Hardy was awesome to me. Like the way he would do that like
yeah.
basketball thing and all that stuff. He's just a funny character. So I just always had that idea in my head. It's like, why couldn't they have done that streak and ran with him? But like I said, that's
He
not
had a
who I would.
bad finisher.
Yeah, the fantasy booking, you can't do it with that finisher. So let's get into who we would build a Goldberg streak with, and who's the guy you would go with.
So mine for I would maybe do this with WWE. I guess that's the biggest one. But I would start off. Well, first off, it would be Jacob Fatu, but I would give him kind of like an Umaga feel, not like in the gimmick, but do a lot of vignettes first before he makes his debut, kind of hyping him up, and then have him come out and just start destroying people. But I wouldn't do a lot of like jobbers. I would let him do a couple jobber matches and then maybe do one or two where he does the handicap thing. He beats up two guys at once. But I would start putting him against main roster guys like right away. And if you haven't seen Jacob Fatu, he's like it's I don't know how to describe him. It's like a mixture of like Roman Reigns and Umaga and Rob Van Dam. Like this guy does springboard stuff. He does like a back handspring moonsault. He
I've only seen one of his matches. It was one of them war cage matches. I don't know
Yeah,
what they
the War
call them.
Chamber. Yeah,
Yeah, and
and MLW.
yeah, but now I'm very interested. Rob
He
Van
did a
Dam.
well. He did a Van Terminator. You know where he gets on one post and jumps across to the other one, kicks a chair in the guy's face.
Yeah,
I seen that with my own eyes. But yeah. I mean, he's an
he's
incredible.
a big dude to do that.
Yeah, he's like 281 pounds. He's a big Samoan badass, and he's like this freak athlete. So I think he would be. You talk about like a Goldberg of this generation. I think this guy could be a Goldberg of this generation, just doing these crazy, powerful moves and this freak athlete. And then, like I said, get him right going against the main roster, like him and Ricochet and Gunther and Braun Strowman and even Rollins and KO. I think he would have some money feuds with these guys. But to me, where the money is with the bloodline. And I would have, as he's winning matches, you could do like some backstage things where they show that Roman's kind of watching him. And then I would even expand the bloodline during this time. I know there's talk right now about them WWE being interested in Tama Tonga and that Hikolo, I don't know how to say that name, another dude from New Japan.
Dude, I was wondering why they were finally interested in Tonga.
I don't know. I'd probably to build the bloodline, but build the bloodline here and have those guys a part of it. And like I said, have Roman kind of watching him. And then maybe like Roman does, they have some backstage interactions where Roman's kind of like, oh, you know, call me when you're ready. Or, you know, kind of like hinting at like, oh, yeah, you're, you know, join the bloodline. And then finally the offer gets serious and they call him out to the ring and you have the entire bloodline and they like throw him a shirt and he turns it down or he rips it up or he throws it away. And then, you know, Roman being the Godfather, he orders a beatdown. So you'd have the Usos and Solo and Tama and this other guy just beat him down while Roman stands there.
What
and
about
watches.
Honorary Us?
Huh?
Honorary Us can't be
Oh
there?
yeah, if he's still there, I'm just assuming he
Yeah.
wouldn't be there by then. But
Okay.
yeah, if he's still there, I would definitely have Sammy in it if he's still a part of it. But have Roman kind of just standing there and watching, and then I would have Fatu go away for a little bit, like he's beat up. And then what I wish that WCW had done with Goldberg to get to Hulk Hogan was go through the NWO. And not just like a one match thing and then he can get ready for Hogan, but like one by one fight his way to Hogan. And you could have Fatu do that here where he goes through every member of the bloodline to get to Roman. And hit Roman Reigns versus Jacob Fatu, you know, they wrestling and comic books kind of go hand in hand. They make some comparisons. I think that would be like a wrestling version of the Incredible Hulk versus the Juggernaut. Just these two unstoppable forces, and something's got to give. And either you from there you could have Roman beat him, or you could have him beat Roman. I don't think you lose either way.
You brought up that idea of Goldberg taking NWO out and then Fatu doing this with the Bloodline. What would be really cool if that's how he goes about it is also if he injures them after every match, so he knows that when he gets to Roman, it's just me and you now.
Yeah,
dude.
that's perfect.
Yeah, and Roman's facial reaction after each match could be hilarious.
Yeah, and every time I would have like, you could tease it where it's like, you think you're getting Roman and Fatu, and then Roman's like, no, you got Jimmy, no, you got Jay, and then one by one he takes them out and he hurts them, and Roman's like there ringside every time, kind of watching, and then you get down to just the two of them, and I think that's a money feud right there.
I like that idea too because it's a nice way to bring in someone that the outside crowd doesn't know.
Yeah, and then if he's getting that bloodline rub, like you talked about Hogan giving guys rubs and elevating them, Roman Reigns is in a position to do that, and I think this helps a lot right here.
Yeah. For the guy I go with to that I would run a Goldberg streak with is it's too late now, but I would have did KO when he debuted. I love the idea of the prize fighter, but being a badass streaker where like you're not gonna beat him.
Yeah.
With the idea like you mentioned, Fatu don't beat jobbers. With KO, I thought he comes in right off the bat and beats Cena.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have to wrestle every week. Every other week, he could be that I'm only wrestling if it's money. Yeah. So he only beats main card talent. He's never ever fucking around with jobbers. And I think also another reason that I picked him, not only the prize fighter, I think the prize fighter is that gimmick goes really well with the streak, was also the pop-up power bomb. I think is equivalent to the jackhammer, where it's like it looks like it hurts. It looks like he fucks you up.
Yeah.
And I also like that idea too. Is I feel like he could do the pop-up power bomb, and then later on throughout his career, he can transition to the stunner.
Yeah.
And it's iconic finishers, and it just gives him that. I feel like KO's pretty special, and he might not go down as special as he should have or could have been.
Yeah.
Like this guy to me, I know I've seen interviews or maybe I read articles saying that he idolized Owen Hart when he was coming up.
Yeah.
But rewatching the Attitude Era now, he just very, very much feels like Austin to me.
Oh yeah.
So I'm like, if it feels like he might have mimicked a lot of Austin. That means to me that he could have pulled off that Goldberg streak of being that badass with the pop-up power bomb.
Yeah.
And you transition to the stunner when you want to become face because he was a heel. I would have kept him as a heel as the prize fighter too with that streak.
What I like with I love Kevin Owens. I got a life size Kevin Owens cutout in my room. I love Kevin Owens. So any love we can give Kevin Owens, I'm all for it. But you're talking about the pop up power bomb and the jackhammer. Like Goldberg could have hit the jackhammer on the Giant. I don't think Owens could have hit the pop up power bomb on some of these bigger guys. But it would almost be like a hybrid of like Goldberg and someone else, where Kevin Owens is more versatile in the ring. So for the bigger guys that he might not be able to hit that move on, maybe he has a secondary finisher like the stunner or something he can use.
Yeah.
And it gives him a different option to win his matches.
Yeah, I wasn't even thinking about the bigger guys if he could do it with them. What I really liked about the pop-up powerbomb too, though, is how fluid it is, like a jackhammer or a stunner. I'm like, dude, like the way he would hit that and how he would lead up to it was always so smooth that dude's very talented, and I feel like he probably should have been mainstream. And hopefully, I mean, he still has time. Maybe he can get there.
I always thought that the matches Cena had with AJ Styles and CM Punk were probably bigger matches, but I thought that Kevin Owens got better matches out of John Cena, if that makes sense. I know the AJ John Cena 2017 Royal Rumble match is incredible, but I thought that Kevin Owens made Cena work more and do more in their trilogy of matches than Punk and AJ did, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I also think too, Cena was probably trying to help KO. Like he was on the
I'm sure, but it just the fact that like KO, for whatever reason, that Cena did that for KO, because they did a lot of moves that I wouldn't think Cena would do during that time.
Oh yeah.
And I thought that they were just like structurally better matches. And he also, in his debut, he beat Cena clean. CM Punk never did that because technically there was interference at Money in the Bank.
That's the thing with KO 2 for that streak. It's like, if I start this streak on Cena, dude, like.
Well, that's with the prize fighter gimmick. He shows up for Cena. That's his first match because it's all about the money. Like, I fight for the money, and you go from there. It would be Brock, because it's like his first WrestleMania could have been Brock, because it's like, what's a bigger payday than Brock?
And the other thing I wanted to talk about with this Goldberg is, so I would pop if anyone took the jackhammer. Mostly, I've always wanted Roman Reigns to do it or Bobby Lashley.
Yeah.
For you, who would you be like, oh shit, they just took the jackhammer?
Oh, what guy today?
Yeah.
Well, so on another podcast, the New Day, they talked about their dream matches, and Big E was like, oh, I don't want this work rate stuff. I want Goldberg. He was like, I want the big men slapping meat or whatever. I think Big E's he was a good star, big star. I think it would have looked pretty impressive for him to hit the jackhammer. And then also he could do it on some bigger guys. I mean, he's an incredibly strong guy. So,
dude, that Big E's a very solid choice, because I've always felt like he was missing something.
Yeah.
And that finisher, I feel like,
yeah.
I don't like his finisher now. What's it called?
The big ending.
Yeah. It's just, it seems like he could be better. But that jackhammer, he would look badass with that. That makes him A-lister, main event guy right there.
If you gave Big E a match with Goldberg, that would maybe be a cool way to turn him heel, is have him destroy Goldberg and maybe hit him with like 3 jackhammers and then pin him. And then he could be like, oh, that's my move now. I took that move.
Dude, that would be sick. Because, like, yeah, Goldberg, I mean, Roman Reigns and Bobby Lashley, I would like them to do them, but they already made guys. Like, I get Big E had a title run, but it seems like he's still lacking. You give him that finisher, oh, dude, he fucking becomes just that much, like, solidified. Like, oh, dude, I can go. Like, I'm special.
And my other choice would be Dominic Mysterio.
Oh, dude, I can't get enough of Dominic. Dude. Dominic does no wrong in my mind. I can't wait till he gets the world title. As long as he's still with Judgment Day.
Yeah, give him the jackhammer.
I don't want it to ever end. I feel like at this point he might need Judgment Day, because he said Finn's the guy that helped him get comfortable on the mic.
Yeah, I think as much as I love Rey Mysterio, I think that Finn and the Judgment Day have done more for Dominic than Ray did.
And I've seen people question Finn's mic skills,
Yeah.
and then you see Dominic here. Like, there's no one that can say he's slacking on mic right
No.
now, and he's giving credit for Finn helping him. So it shows how the genius that Finn is. Like,
you've been hyping up Dominic since he debuted, which his first match with Rollins was great, but it was after that I felt like he was like lackluster. But once he went to prison, he came out a changed man.
All right. So in the comments, let us know who you would run a Goldberg streak with, and if you would like to see someone adopt Goldberg's finishing move.